A man accidentally hit a power line while using a jackhammer. His entire body was firmly gripped by a massive electric current. He was on fire. Fortunately, the firefighter arrived just in time. Kelly managed to disconnect the man from the power line. With the help of his teammates, the flames on the man's body were quickly extinguished. Due to the timely rescue, the man was still breathing. However, when Acting Chief Jerry learned of the situation, he didn't praise Kelly. Instead, he gave him a harsh scolding. According to the firefighter's code of conduct, it is forbidden to directly touch a victim connected to a live current. Kelly said as a firefighter he firmly believed there was no time to think further in that moment. His actions were the best possible choice, but Jerry didn't care. He insisted that Kelly made a mistake. Other teammates were angry but dared not speak out. After all, Chief Bowden had been sidelined for breaking the rules to save a life. Now Jerry had been assigned by the new fire commissioner to keep an eye on Bowden and his squad. Unexpectedly, a turning point came soon. One day a fire broke out in a skyscraper. Kelly fought with all his might, eventually finding a trapped boy. However, the fire grew stronger, completely sealing the exit. Faced with Kelly's call for help, Jerry had no solutions. The burning floor was too high, and the ladder truck couldn't reach it. At that moment, the only thing Jerry could say was to let Kelly fend for himself. Bowden finally had enough. He took over command and suggested that Kelly try escaping through a window. If they could descend 1 or 2 floors, they could survive. With Bowden's guidance, Kelly quickly secured a rope using a radiator.
Your job is to hold on to me. My job to hold on to the rope.
He repeatedly warned the boy to hold on tightly. Then he climbed out the window with the boy. At that moment, everyone held their breath. It was over 30 floors high. Any slight misstep would lead to unimaginable consequences. Fortunately, Kelly was highly experienced. Even with the boy, his speed remained unaffected. Finally, under everyone's watchful eyes, the two successfully reached a floor that wasn't burning. Using a glass-breaking tool, Kelly smashed the window. The two ultimately landed safely.
Hey, you okay?
The firefighters found only a hat and judged there might still be survivors at the scene.
It's got a sweat line in it. Somebody was wearing this.
Somebody else was on the train.
It turned out that moments earlier, a freight train derailed, causing a major accident. The firefighters struggled to control the scene and rescue victims, only to discover survivors while retreating. However, the accident site was vast, and searching for someone in the ruins was no easy task. At that moment, Paul discovered a backpack. Inside were textbooks revealing the survivor was a student. Paul checked the train's manifest. The asphalt-filled container seemed impossible for anyone to be in. The sealed carriage was also inaccessible after elimination. Only a refrigerated car hauling beer remained, but it was pierced by steel bars transported by the train. If the survivor was inside, the chances were slim. Still, they decided to climb in and search. After some effort, they found a phone.
Hello?
Damon, are you there?
No, it's Paul Strickland. I'm a firefighter. Who are you looking for?
My brother, Damon Cole.
Perhaps hearing his brother's voice, the unconscious Damon suddenly spoke. This gave Paul a clear target. Damon had been trying to visit his sick brother in another city, but his car broke down halfway. Coincidentally, a freight train passed by, so Damon took a risk and climbed aboard, planning to hitch a free ride. Unexpectedly, the train derailed, and Damon ended up in this predicament. Fortunately, the dense steel bars didn't pierce Damon, but they trapped him tightly. Paul immediately called for backup. Soon the captain arrived with another teammate, but it wasn't enough. They needed more help. Dispatch informed them other firefighters were either still rescuing or too far away. The captain wasted no time while cutting the steel bars. He instructed Mahjong to mark a large X on the carriage exterior to help incoming support locate them quickly. They worked against the clock, cutting the steel, but Damon's condition deteriorated. Although he wasn't bleeding, the impact caused internal injuries. Soaking in freezing beer for a long time, he likely developed hypothermia, as if things couldn't get worse. The train accident caused a massive chlorine gas leak. With a change in wind direction, the deadly gas would engulf them in just 3 minutes. Faced with imminent danger, the captain ordered everyone to retreat, but he stayed behind to make a last-ditch rescue effort. He wasn't fearless, but as a firefighter, he couldn't abandon Damon. Suddenly, with a snap, the blade broke. Damon lost hope, urging the captain to escape. The captain refused. He mustered all his strength to pull the steel, but it still didn't move. As the poisonous gas approached, both closed their eyes, awaiting their fate. Out of nowhere, something hit the carriage, pushing it out of the gas range. The two were stunned, unaware of what had happened. The captain climbed out to check.
Judd?
Howdy, Cap.
How did you even know to be here?
Well, I heard on the radio X marks the spot and...
Although Judd was no longer a firefighter, he always cared about the team's situation. Upon hearing they were in trouble, he drove over to help. Thanks to him, the captain and Damon were saved. The firefighters answered a call for a house fire. Inside the house, the fire was raging. The firefighters started checking the rooms when they saw a woman in the kitchen and she caught fire. She was alive, but she was severely burned. In one of the bedrooms was a young man named Dylan. Kelly told him that he was going to get him out of there. Kelly opened the window. He told Dylan he had lived there as a kid and there was a a drain pipe. Dylan just had to put his foot on it and climb down to the bottom. Dylan got out and to safety. It was Kelly's turn next. He was also safe on the ground. The woman was outside on a stretcher. Dylan saw her and started to freak out. Paramedic Sylvie said they were taking her to the hospital and told Dylan that he could go with them. Back at the station, Casey told Chief Bowden that the woman was possibly trying to get to the fridge for drugs. Later accompanied by Kelly, a detective went to the house to take a look at the fridge. When they arrived, the place was boarded up. Kelly pried open the front door to get in. They opened the fridge door and there was a stash inside. They heard a noise. The detective said it was probably a dealer and pulled out his gun. A man came in and cried that the stash was for Dylan. It was his insulin supply and it was all gone. Dylan was diabetic. They had gotten a deal on a bulk supply of insulin. They didn't have much money, but it had cost them half of what it usually would have. The man asked if they could check the bedroom for a change of clothes. His wife was going to be in the hospital for a while. She was in a coma. The next day, Kelly went to see Dylan's father. They were about to bring the woman out of the coma, but he couldn't find Dylan. Kelly went back to the house to look for Dylan. He found him upstairs packing a bag. Dylan said he had heard his parents talking before the fire. All their money had gone to medicine for him. They had nothing for themselves and were better off without him. Kelly told him that he had gone through some tough times at his age too. He had to lean on the people who loved him. Kelly told him that his friend might be able to help him get his medicine and that he would tell him more on the way to the hospital to see his mom. Paramedics arrive at a call from Mrs. Capizzi. The button is jammed with her hand inside the carburetor.
Gonna disconnect it. No, I'm still stuck.
She said an oyster fork fell and she thought she could grab it.
I think your ring is trapped on the side of the mechanism. Oh my god.
They are able to free her hand, and she only had some minor lacerations on her hand, but she's upset that her engagement ring is damaged from them twisting her hand to get it out.
Your ring is damaged because you stuck your hand in a garbage disposal before shutting it off.
As they are taking her to get some stitches,
So unfair.
Dawson stops her and tells her about a shelter that is less than half a mile from there that is filled with kids that have nowhere to go. Kids that can be on the streets or in a morgue or God knows where. Now that's unfair. Sylvie tells Dawson to drive and she will stay in the back with Mrs. Capizzi. When the squad team arrived on the scene, they learned that some sort of chemical was burning on the loading dock and the truck company were refusing to go inside until Hazmat got there. Kelly told everyone to mask up. He wanted to get the door open so Hazmat could get inside when they arrived. Unfortunately, they had to stay clear of the windows as things started to explode. The hazmat team arrived. Zach said there were 55 gallons of industrial cleaner. He had done inspections and warned that if the fire got beyond the loading dock, it would hit the mother load of 50,000 gallons, which would level the whole block. Kelly and Cap were using the electric saw to cut open the door.
If you don't contain this, we're gonna have to evacuate the 10-block area.
They managed to lift the garage door, and Kelly shouted for them to get a line in there quickly.
The fire's inside! We have to get in there!
Kelly called for Cruz, who brought in his new tool, the slam-a-gun. When Cruz yanked the door open, Kelly exclaimed,
nice
"Cool."
work, bud.
A firefighter from another house asked him about the weight of the tool and said he liked it too.
The woman just went to the ATM to withdraw cash. However, a distress signal was accidentally triggered inside the machine. The woman, engrossed in counting her money and didn't notice anything, casually threw the note into the trash can. Soon a man walked in. Just after completing his transaction, the ATM once again spat out a distress note. The man scrutinized the situation for 5 minutes but found nothing unusual. He quickly realized it was probably a prank show, so after making a few sarcastic comments, he left. Then another girl entered to withdraw cash. After entering her PIN, the cash wouldn't come out. Just as the girl thought the machine was broken, a small note suddenly emerged stating stuck in ATM, no cash until call 911. The girl immediately called 911, but the operator instructed her to contact the bank instead. The girl mentioned she heard someone calling for help from inside the ATM. This led to a rapid response from the rescue team. Firefighters extended a camera into the ATM and indeed found a person trapped inside. They promptly used a pry bar to open the ATM door. As the door opened, the unfortunate man was successfully rescued. But the question is how the man got in.